Welcome to BrandBusters with your hosts, James Schwyn and Sean Lee. Together, we bust open the latest in CPG, retail media, and life, or whatever the we want. And for today's episode, we got something special cooked up for ya. Extra spicy. Take it away, Sean.
All right. Welcome to our Super Bowl themed edition of BrandBusters. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the newest intro music that we have. So James, we're finally getting a little bit legit over here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We have to compete with Usher now, and he's got these incredible shades. I'm jealous. I wanted some, so I'm rocking these today.
So, I love it, man. I was going to go with my Alicia Keys red jumpsuit, but I knew you were going to be Usher, so I didn't know how that would play out.
Hey, you're just lucky I'm wearing a shirt still. So we'll leave it there. Keep it PG.
Maybe you won't be by the end of the show. We'll see.
Maybe not. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Well, I think Super Bowl is talk of the town. I think for every marketer and people around CPG, it's kind of what we live for, right? Like this is for agencies, for brands. This is what you create content for. It's the tentpole moment. And I think going into it, one of the things that were pretty interesting, and James, I know you had done quite a bit of research on this, is just the price of a 30-second Super Bowl spot these days. So back when I worked at Procter & Gamble in early 2010s, I think back in 2012, a 30-second spot was about $3.5 million. Yesterday, it was $7 million. So I'd say Super Bowl ads are the only thing inflating faster than college tuition and healthcare these days. But that's quite the increase for just a decade for 30 seconds of real estate. James, I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, I know you dug into some of the numbers.
Yeah, I feel like Alan from Hangover right now, like doing my research on this with all the numbers whizzing around the screen. So a couple of things. I'm about to go off here. So CBS sold out of Super Bowl ad inventory in record fashion, actually back in November, with 90% of it sold out actually in August. For reference, NBC, who hosted the big event a year ago, actually sold out just 10 days before the game in 2022. So
crazy. Incredible.
I think the spectacle of it being in Vegas really drove advertisers. There's a lot of activations. You're seeing that happen with like F1 and the Sphere all coming to life this year. So I think there's a lot of things that really drove that. Speaking of our giant big circle that cost $2.3 billion, Sean's talking on what did it cost to advertise during the big game on TV. The Sphere's prices went up as well. So normally for an activation, it's around $450,000 for a day, $650K for a week. During the week of the Super Bowl for up to 12 hours, you're talking about $2 million. And that ad
unbelievable.
Also sold out. Now, what does that get you from an impression standpoint? Obviously, we know Super Bowl, 118 million plus, about a third of the U.S. population. The Sphere getting about 4.7 million daily impressions, 4.4 million, mostly being social and digitally driven, with about 300K in person, with everyone descending in that area. So I'm going to keep going, Sean. You stop me if I need to.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Guaranteed audience. So we know how fragmented our attention is. We see all the studies and reports on our viewership on these things. Going up to 4+ hours a day, people are watching on multiple devices. They're not focused and engaged. However, with so many people tuning in at one point in time, this is the big opportunity to really drive home some brand affinity here. So, Sean, I think some other things to tease on here, but maybe I'll let you react to that bit.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that's why everybody was spending so much money. And I mean, no shock that they sold out back in the summertime or close to sold out in the summertime. I mean, I think Temu, which I didn't even know that's how you pronounced it. I always called it Temu. I think paid for half the Super Bowl advertising spots themselves. I mean, could you imagine being that marketing manager, just beep, 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 like just backing up the Brink trucks, baby, and just dropping it off at CBS's door?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. I can't believe they ran 4 spots. I mean, $28 million for the Super Bowl is pretty unreal, but I think that just shows between Shein and Temu and some of the other Chinese e-commerce companies, I mean, Google, Facebook, a ton of their revenue this past quarter was from those guys. So no shock that, they're spending billions in advertising, that they would go after the mecca of US advertising and just go all in on the Super Bowl. Yeah. So
who doesn't want to shop like a billionaire, Sean? Like, that's my only takeaway. Granted, I think I saw item featured there like $10 to $15. So I don't know, maybe.
I don't.
But
It was good, man. I think the ad looked like they like ran it through some sort of AI and had it create it. But and that the song was super catchy.
yeah. I mean, I'll still take my Usher over Temu, but neither here nor there. So a couple other things, just a little bit of note. This is the first Super Bowl where they had alt broadcasts. So Sean, you and I are dads. We both have kids. You've got 3, I've got 2. It was featured on Nickelodeon. I see this as a very hallmark year in terms of NFL trying to expand audience reach. So not only did they experiment with the Nickelodeon in the past, this was the first year with Disney Plus where it's fully animated, which I actually watched and try to watch with my kids. A little bit laggy, but not the worst. And then obviously, if we talk about growing the growing female audience ship with the Super Bowl, I don't know if you knew Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are a thing in a couple. Big shot, big announcement. I know.
I didn't know.
So I think you're seeing a larger, more intentionality around appealing to a more diverse audience. And I think the NFL is all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, it's an overnight success, right? Is becoming more of a culturally relevant sport powerhouse in terms of demographics beyond soccer internationally. So I think that's a very interesting development too.
I think you're right. I mean, the Taylor Swift thing certainly helped the NFL. I think even just look at like Travis Kelce, like when he won, I think he sang an Elvis Presley song, "Viva Las Vegas." I mean, they're just building these characters into like larger in life figures, almost like professional wrestling. So I think the NFL is going to continue to have these like high profile relationships. They're going to elevate their stars and kind of give them the microphone and let them do their thing and create more buzz for the NFL. Which is why people tune into the big game and why people will probably pay $14 million 10 years from now for a 30-second spot.
Yes. And if we want to talk about categories that played nicely spread across the board, the bigger spender this year was food and bev, accounting for over 28% of the ad slots. Who is notably really not there or around too much was the fintech space. So in 2022, you had the likes of FTX, eToro, Coinbase, not so much these days. So interesting how you see those shifts, 1 to 2 years ago. But I think, and this is where Sean and I are going to really kind of pull things apart and kind of deem, was it a boom or a bust? But I don't know if you know, were there celebrities in any of these commercials? I couldn't tell.
I didn't notice. If there were, I didn't notice, James. But no, I think I had 2 big takeaways from the game ads, and one was brands and their agencies relied on celebrities way too much, and almost everybody played it safe. You didn't see kind of the humor you used to see 10 years ago. Some of the more irreverent or risk-taking ads that you might have seen culturally, everyone played it pretty by the book except a couple of people. I don't know. What were your takeaways, James?
Yeah. So again, numbers guy here, Alan in the casino. We're about to count cards and make this thing happen so we can find our friend Doug and get him back for the ransom. But the big thing of the 70 slots, 2/3 of them actually featured celebrities. So that's a massive amount. And it almost felt a little bit like a check the box exercise. And Sean, you're absolutely right on playing it safe. Nostalgia is one that comes to mind for me. If we think about the first ad up, State Farm is getting a lot of notoriety with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. The Good Neighbor, one going back to their movie together, Twins in the 80s or 90s. Uber Eats with Ross and Rachel, going back to even Elf incorporating Icy Suits was a hit. I'm an old school Suits fan. Back when it was on USA, late 2010 or early 2010.
Oh yeah.
And featuring characters from them now that they've had this resurgence. So I think a lot of people are playing into this nostalgia, really going after Gen X and the geriatric millennials, in my mind, from a positioning standpoint or targeting standpoint. But we saw that happen a lot. So, but I got to ask, what's your best Schwarzenegger sound? Do you have one?
Yeah, I'd say, let me get down. Get to the chopper now.
Back to the chopper. Loud.
We'll see. Yeah. No, I thought it was a good ad, but yeah, I mean the celebrities and ads. Like when I was at P&G and we would review creative, oftentimes, like my general sense was if you didn't have kind of a clear creative direction or something to bring out or showcase the benefit of your product, agencies and even brand leaders would often default to, well, let's just put a celebrity in there, which is a little bit risky. It's like, it's almost kind of like mailing it in of, hey, can the celebrity carry the day for the brand and the product versus can the product and its actual benefit carry the day creatively? So I think it's risky. And I think celebrities can work when it makes strategic sense. I think Dunkin' Donuts and Ben Affleck, awesome, right? I mean, everybody's seen the sad Ben Affleck memes of him walking to get Dunkin' Donuts. Perfect, right? And like he was in the jumpsuit. All you saw was the orange and pink of Dunkin' Donuts. Like you knew it was a Dunkin' spot. Michael Cera, I think that was great too. A little over the top and reminded me of my Old Spice days, but great ad. And the product was in focus. CeraVe, like slam dunk, right? And I think Arnold, people liked it. I think playing up NEBA, everybody knows State Farm's like a good neighbor, right? So I think they nailed it by bringing out their recognizable assets. But if you told me like what celebrities were in what ad, I couldn't match the celebrity to the brand. Like I know people will probably talk about the Messi commercial where he was kicking the soccer ball. I had to look it up this morning that it was a Michelob Ultra ad, and they showed the beer for like 5 seconds at the beginning and like 2 seconds at the end. Everyone's takeaway is going to be, did you see that cool Messi ad? Not, did you see the Michelob Ultra ad? So if you get away from like actually pitching your product and your benefit and use a celebrity as a crutch, it really doesn't do that much for you. And you probably lit some money on fire yesterday. I don't know, James, what's your take?
No, the other driver here is I think we all know what happened to Bud Light, what, a year or so ago. So I think we saw how big of an uproar brands kind of shifting from their kind of core demographic or audience. You have to take big swings and take big bets, but sometimes on the biggest platform that can also create backlash. So I think that was probably the biggest driver here. And yeah, again, no fault to the brands. I think it was an entertaining game. Would have wished for a different result. Myself, as you and I are both from Cincy, so KC and Cincy have a little bit of a rivalry. Now I know Kelsey's a UC alum, as we both are, so tough to. Yeah. Do you root against the alma mater guy, or do you
love Kelsey, but I'm sick of the Chiefs?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah. So. Yeah, I think I don't follow anyone here. I think there's some good creativity. Just felt like everyone went for the same playbook this year, and I think that's the trend. So
yeah, nobody wanted to get canceled, and I think that's just kind of where we are as a culture. And being canceled could be by either side. It seems like either side of the spectrum was willing to boycott brands these days, which kind of puts you into a little bit of a box creatively, which probably isn't the best for humor and creating that ad that's going to wow somebody.
Yeah. Now we got to talk, speaking about being outside the box, I think there's some honorable mentions here. The first up, actually, and you brought this up, Sean, with Dove, they had a nice piece on, I think very on brand kind of with their messaging and driving more like self-confidence in women. I know you're a girl dad as well. So I think that was a nice sentimental, position kind of early on in the program. Again, you were at P&G, you're part of when they kind of did that portrait project a number of years ago. Can you talk about that team and kind of that brand's approach to really appealing to, not the heartstrings per se, but really, I think taking a very actualized and sentimental approach to their advertising versus just doing something pithy or fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. Actually, Dove was not a P&G brand. It was a Unilever brand, which was one of our fiercest rivals. But no, we had a ton of respect for what they did. And I think there's a while back, there's some P&G, I think Always had some similar ads. And then P&G Olympics, the Thank You Mom campaign was probably on that higher level, top of funnel benefit that Dove really hits home on. And I think, I love the Dove ad. Is a dad, I think it was great. We'll pull it up and roll through it in a second. But I think when you go that high level, you're really top of funnel, right? It's like people are aware of Dove. I'd say most people have used it or know what it is, but there's no product benefit. It is all emotional and feel. It's like you're using some recognizable assets and you're really going after kind of that cultural insight and in being mission driven, which I think Dove has stood true to that for the past 5, 6, 7 years, maybe the past decade. So I think it was great. It was on brand for them. It was distinctive because it feels like those past Dove ads. It doesn't really convey the benefit of the brand at like a lower level, but I think it's a great halo and a great message. So I think for the serious ads, that was probably one of my favorites yesterday, especially being a girl dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And James, one of the things that I want to do, and we'll pull it up here really quickly and show everybody. for those that are watching along, and people can listen for those that aren't, which I think is a lot of these ads were great audio wise. But when I was at P&G and even now, this is how I evaluate all creative, not just TV, but there are really 6 things we would look for. One would be, is it true to the brand, and does it showcase the brand or the product or brand's benefit? Is it distinctive? So is it going to break through all the noise? Does it kind of connect insightfully? So is it built off of a real human insight? Is it simple so that people get the message? You got 30 seconds. You can't make it overly complicated. And does it use recognizable assets? So your fonts, your colors, your logo, think the Coca-Cola bottle, the shape, like you get it, right? And then does it inspire amplification, which I think CeraVe did brilliantly, because I've seen them on the homepage of Amazon today. I've seen them on Twitter. I've seen them on other social medias. Like, can you take that 30-second spot and amplify it to all other mediums, and will it make sense? So those are really the 6 things that we would evaluate ads on. And yeah, James, I figured we could probably roll through some of our favorites and then talk about whether it was a boom or a bust and what we liked, what we didn't.
Yeah, let's do it. I've got 2, but you start.
Sounds good. How about we roll through the Dove ones, since we've been talking about it.
Great.
Let's see if I can get this going.
While Sean's pulling that up, of course, I was going to be the one that flubbed it, being under with Unilever, now part of P&G. But Sean actually got to work on campaign like this, I think back in your Old Spice days, correct?
I did.
All right. And was the Super Bowl, but that's back in New Orleans? I think I like vaguely.
Yeah, it was the New Orleans, the year the lights went off. It was the Niners and the Ravens, but no, it was great. We ran a Super Bowl ad that year on Old Spice. We didn't have the $3.5 million to shell out, and we had a really great ad. So what we did is, back then, I don't even know if they still do it anymore, but YouTube the next morning would have the Super Bowl ad recap where people could watch all the ads and vote on them. And then the news stories would write about what the best ads were based on this YouTube recap. So we found a loophole to get included in that recap. You could run a local affiliate ad. So we ran an ad in whatever it was, like the CBS equivalent of Anchorage, Alaska. And it only probably aired to a few 100,000 people, but we were able to get into that YouTube recap the next morning. So we got millions of views on this ad, and everybody thought it was in the game, and news articles were writing up that it was one of their top 5 favorite ads, all because we kind of gamed the system. Obviously, a lot of people didn't like that, so the next year YouTube changed their rules and criteria to get in, but it was great. We paid a few $100,000, got into the Super Bowl ad recap. People thought we ran the ad. Great way to hack the system. But yeah, it's people really spend a lot of time trying to drive buzz around the Super Bowl. So yeah, let me share this, James, and we'll let it rip.
As Socrates says, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Exactly. So let's watch Dove here. All right, James, what's your reaction?
I mean, aside from me needing a box of tissues, no, I think well done, short to the point. I think, again, this is something that in this era where there's a lot more awareness around mental health and emotional well-being, I think it nails it. Again, to your point, I think it's just well done. I don't have any complaints. I'd say it's a boom, not a bust by any means.
Yeah, I would too. I'd say it's on brand. It's distinctive. It uses all of Dove's kind of recognizable assets, going back to that Dove Sketches campaign. The only thing it probably lacks is like some sort of benefit of the brand, other than kind of like the higher issue of, being for women's self-esteem, which I think is a great cause, but it doesn't tie back to, what's the benefit of the deodorant or the body wash. But, the primary user of Dove is women in that demo. I think it's home run. Great ad. I think you got to do that top of funnel when you're, so widely distributed and most people know your name. So it gives you the authority to run those kind of ads.
Yeah.
So we'll call it a boom.
All right.
All right. What's next?
I'm going to go on I'm going to take a little bit of a different route here. And this is a little bit more of an honorable mention. So there is a brand that did not advertise on the big game, but arguably made the best play or audible in terms of how to take advantage of all the extra attention around the Super Bowl. So some of you might be familiar with Dude Wipes. Sean Riley is the CEO and founder there. And what they opted to do is actually buy space, advertising space on, I think it's the Hilton Conrad Hotel.
Yeah.
So they actually work with a Cincinnati local agency. I think it's Curiosity is the agency.
Curiosity.
And so shout out to Matt Fisher, and I think it's maybe Greg Livingston, the team there.
Greg Livingston, great team.
So I'm going to share my screen here in a second. Again, it's not an ad, but I think they just really did a phenomenal job.
Did Dude Wipes not run? I saw it in Cincinnati here. Maybe it was.
Maybe
they ran on the local affiliate.
You're right. They absolutely did. Yeah, they did run.
But I don't know if they ran nationally. I didn't see it recapped on some of the national ones that I was looking at. So it might have been what we did on Old Spice. And they could have run it here because they have distribution in Kroger. So they might have run it in just places where the execs of the retailers are watching. I don't know, purely speculation, but that would make all the sense in the world.
I like that speculation. That's very good. Here, let's see here if I can get this to play again. And we'll pull this
that's
up.
Great.
One second.
Great. Yeah, while you're pulling it up, I mean, so the concept was you had the Sphere in Las Vegas, and then Dude Wipes was looking for other real estate where they could run ads. And yeah, they ran it from the Conrad Hilton and had a nice little relevant Taylor Swift message.
Yeah. It's me. Hi, I'm the solution. No, it was well done. So I thought kudos to him. I think they had another one where they played on like the assets of like Taco Bell. So again, that whole team just did a really phenomenal job. It's just a lot of fun to monitor. So if you don't follow them on LinkedIn or Instagram, absolutely do it. Just a masterclass. I would say, I won't take any credit for this term, but it was an assassination of a great ad. So
that's great. Yeah, I'll run. Yeah, I guess probably didn't run nationally then yesterday, but I'll run. I like the CeraVe one with Michael Cera. I think it brought me back to my Old Spice days. It was a little irreverent. I thought great use of a celebrity. They built up to it great all week, and then we've kind of seen it everywhere today afterwards. So let me present, and we'll roll through that one.
Let's make sure the audio comes through too.
Oh. You got the audio, James?
I don't.
Good to know.
And if the audio is not coming through for you, what we will advise is just that you run to YouTube and check it out. It's a great minute hit. Very entertaining. Playing on a lot of the cheesy cologne and perfume brands with the sensual language and shots, the very moody aesthetics with the quirky Michael Cera in a narwhal.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, James, what do you think? And for anybody that wasn't able to see it, I don't know why our audio is not sharing. You can go take a look and check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your take, James? How'd you like it?
No, I liked it. Again, I think we see too often these luxury brands where it's very sensual, it's very moody, and I guess that's fine. It's trying to convey It's trying to convey that kind of to customers that you're going to be, there's this desirability, and it's something to like only the most beautiful people like wear this and attract this. So like attract like. So I think of playing into that, and just some of the goofy, again, Michael Cera. I mean, I go back to, what was it, Superbad? Classic movie, just like funny, quirky, dry humor. So there's that contrast and that tension point, which is why I think this plays well. It's a perfect use of a celebrity, and also again with the name incorporation into the brand. So I think that is, they by no means check the box. I think they actually were intentional about this and really executed well. So boom for me.
Yeah, boom for me too. I think they were on benefit, so they used humor to communicate kind of the scientific benefits around CeraVe, and used him to do it, which I think is great. Very distinctive. Like, it really stops and makes you watch. I thought it was a great insight, kind of making fun of like all these other high-end products that, all the perfume ads and everything else you see during the holiday season. It was very simple. It used a ton of recognizable assets. They were showing the cream in use, the kind of the viscosity, the packaging, the bottles, the colors, the fonts, the logos, like very, very, very well done. And they've clearly amplified it everywhere. And I think that idea has some legs, and we'll probably see it for the next 3 to 6 months, because it's a good campaign that they can keep running. Yeah, James, we might want to pivot and not share some more if the audio is not coming through. I don't know why it's not.
Yeah, the audio is now. We'll go. I would just say, make sure you check out the Dunkings. Anyone that likes, one, I think building off the success of last year with Ben Affleck working the Dunkin' Donuts, or now just the Dunkin' drive-through, and J-Lo running through at the end, where he's doing. Now he crashes her place of work along with Tom Brady and Matt Damon. Matt Damon, very like skeptical friend about it, but dropping a nice Goodwill Hunting line in there. So that was my personal favorite. That's the one that got me to laugh out loud. So everybody
knows Dunkin' Donuts is the Starbucks of New England. So I think having Tom Brady, having those guys there represent it was spot on. I mean, they were in silly jumpsuits that I think Dunkin' started selling on their website immediately after, for their super fans. I think very well done. You knew it was a Dunkin' ad. You knew it was Ben Affleck. You knew the guy loves Dunkin'. People are talking about it today. Fantastic ad. Great use of celebrities.
Yeah,
boom for me.
Absolutely. And another power couple, right? People are like drawn to this like power couple dynamics of playing on like Taylor and Travis and Ben and Jen. Another example. And I think this upcoming Halloween, you're going to see a lot of couple costumes or just buddies. I see a bunch of like frat guys probably running around in these like Dunkings jumpsuits. So I imagine a lot of
I think it's great.
People's costumes have been selected and shot for the year. So
I think one other one that I just wanted to touch on, James, that was a little bit non-traditional for me, and I honestly never used the brand. I know it exists. I follow it because I follow all the CPG brands that are up and coming, but I think Poppi had a really good one. It was kind of like a manifesto ad of saying like, hey, all the old sodas like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, that's for the boomers and the millennials. Like, we're the new soda that your grandkids are going to be drinking. And it showed, vibrant visuals, like cool Gen Z people drinking this Poppi soda that's supposed to be a little bit more natural and not have all the chemicals and additives of traditional soda. I thought it was really, really well done, and kind of planting your flag in the ground and making that claim, like this is the soda you're going to be telling your grandkids about, or that your grandkids are going to be drinking. Really is just a punch in the face to big soda, or whatever that means, like big CPG. The other thing I thought was interesting is there's 2 soda brands that are kind of fighting for that new up and coming brand, Olipop and Poppi. I think Olipop actually has a lot more market share than them. So it was really kind of introducing to a wide audience that's probably never heard of either of those 2 before, trying to establish themselves as the dominant player. So I thought it was a bold move. I thought the ad was great. Showcased the products, used a lot of their colors and imagery. That was a boom for me unexpectedly.
Yeah. And I think it'll be interesting to monitor the halo effect that has on that category. So if I don't know the exact split from a market share standpoint, but my thought is Olipop is actually one of the bigger players in that space. So interesting. It'll be very interesting to watch how they kind of play off of this. This kind of creates some tailwinds for the category. From a retailer,
I'm sure it will.
Other brands emerging in there, and also the established incumbents kind of like try to take a closer look.
Since I would venture to say the average person over the age of 40 probably isn't very aware of Poppi. So they're gonna have no idea whether it was Olipop or Poppy. Frankly, I get them mixed up, and I like to say that I'm with it and in the industry. So no doubt in my mind that Olipop will also rise and get a halo off of this too.
Yeah. So we broke down a lot of ads. I think they were all booms for us. There wasn't really any outright bust across the 7 years. Some that maybe didn't hit as hard, but we also covered the booms, some of the numbers. I think what did all this?
I would call the Michelob Messi one a bust, just because I feel like you didn't remember it was about beer. And then I thought the Christopher Walken one for BMW was fine, but again, it was more about Christopher Walken and kind of imagery from his past career. I felt like a Christopher Walken ad, not a BMW ad. And they threw Usher in there for absolutely zero reason. I'm like, probably because he was in the Super Bowl halftime show. So there were a few that I thought just really missed the mark for me. But yeah, and a lot that I probably just don't remember that weren't memorable enough, which I would call a bust as well.
Rob Kennedy's ad, though. Rob Kennedy for president.
I liked it. Politics aside, I thought it was cool that he used the old JFK imagery.
Yeah.
From an ad standpoint, great ad. Not commenting on politics, but a great ad.
So in closing, with the numbers, so we know what the price tags were. CBS is expected to have garnered over 600 million just in ad revenue for this event. So insane. I'll be curious what spots are going for next year and what iterations there are on this.
Definitely 7.5 million or 8 next year, James. I'm sure.
And now the other numbers we can get to, Sean, like we don't run a sports book or anything like that, but the amount of people that bet on the game was projected to be 68 million with over $23 billion in bets, which is up 35% year on year. So again, maybe it's Vegas, maybe because it's more legal. It's just, this was a big business from the Super Bowl. So not all just entertainment, all about sports. There's a lot of revenue pouring in with this and around this. So interesting how other sports try to follow and build off this momentum and inertia that the NFL has built.
I think so. Overall, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Great game till the end. Not the outcome I wanted. Boo Chiefs. But Chiefs. Great watching the commercials. I got to watch the game with the kids. Overall, I'd say a win and a boom. So that probably wraps it up. We'll get back to our normal brand busting next week, talking some latest news, and we'll cover a brand and some personal stuff. But thank you for tuning into the Super Bowl episode, and check out some of the ads for yourself and let us know what you think. Follow us on Spotify and leave us a review if you can. Watch us on YouTube and listen to us on Apple Music. So thanks for tuning in today, everybody.
Peace.